Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Now I'm going to show you how to use different yarns to make something like this. If you're a beginner, this is going to be the easiest way ever to make a bauble on a blanket. Now I'm calling this oranges and lemons. You can do this in a blanket. So you can do this any number of stitches as long as it's an odd number of stitches. Now, I'm going to show you how to do this as a blanket, and then this is 60 stitches wide. What I'm going to show you is for the white, I've just used this double knitting. The white is a double knitting and it's a little thinner than the other yarn, so it makes the baubles stand out that little bit better as well. So this is King Cole Baby. You can use any yarn you want, but I will recommend that the back one, the main colour if it's a double knitting. Now the next thing is I didn't have any. My lemon is an Aran yarn. Double knitting in the USA is a weight 3. Aran yarn in the USA is a weight 4. So for me, I didn't have this bright, I'm calling this oranges and lemons. I didn't have this bright orange in an Aran, but I did have it in a DK, and that's a weight 3. So what I've done is I've just rolled a ball off. Because I'm only doing little rows of one, I'm going to actually double the orange one. I'm going to double that when I do it. It's going to help it to stand out as well. So if you don't have chunky, if you don't have Aran, you can just double up on your double knitting or your weight 3 yarn. Now this is a loops and threads one that I had in this lemon, and this one is a weight 4. So that is in the UK an Aran weight. So that is fine to go with that. You can just mix and match your yarns. None of my yarn matches up. It doesn't match up, but look at this. It's so pretty. You don't need to do it lemon and orange. You can do it any colours you want. So for this, I'm using a 5.5mm crochet hook. You might think that's a bit big, but it's not really. It did that piece of work that I just showed you. It's a decent enough size to use with the doubled up orange or the Aran lemon. And if you don't have any thick yarn, just double up any weight 3 or double knitting that you might have. So when you do your chain, you're going to do an even number of stitches. Any amount in an even number. Now I'm just going to do a small sample, so it doesn't matter what length you make it. Use an even number of stitches. 21, 22, let's do 23. So I've just done a little sample to show you how to do this. It's really easy. Now into the second stitch, I've got 13, that's an odd number. But when I go into the second stitch, I'm going to lose that first one and I should have an even number of stitches left. So I'm going to do a UK double crochet. If you're in the USA, that's a single crochet. So the stitches we'll be using are UK double crochets and a double treble crochet. If you're in the USA, it's a single crochet and a treble crochet if you're in the USA. I'll put it up here, what the equivalent is. That's the only 2 stitches we're going to be using. So into the second stitch, you'll put your double crochet. So we're going to put 1 into each stitch in the chain, all the way to the end. And we're going to do 3 rows of this. In between the baubles, there's 3 rows of a UK double crochet, that's a USA single crochet. So I'm going to do 3 rows. Now I'm going to chain 1 and turn my work around. And I'm going to go into the very first stitch, and put 1 into each stitch along. This is my second row. I'm going to do this so I've got 3 rows done. So once I've got 3 rows done, I'll come back and I'll show you how to do that bobble row. So I've got my last stitch to do and I've done 3 rows. In between your bobble row, on your last stitch, keep 2 loops on your hook. Now I'm going to take the yellow. Got my yellow here. Now you won't have any, the only tail you'll have to sew in is this one and possibly your very last one. I'm going to have just a little bit of a tail, just a little bit. Put your yarn over your hook and pull it through those 2 loops. And then turn your work around. Now what you're going to do is, we're going to carry this white along with us. And this tail, we're going to make sure that tail, I'll wind it round just the once around there. Pull your stitch in. We're going to do 1 double crochet right into that very first stitch. Keep your tails there and keep your white up there as well. We're going to carry it along so we don't need to cut any yarn. So keep your yarn and your tail in. A little bit fiddly to start with. Pull my stitch in a little bit tighter. Now into that very first stitch, do your double or single crochet, whatever country you're in. Now you're going to put 1 into the next stitch. Keep that tail down, we're going to work it in and keep that white. We're going to work along with the white. We're going to just trap it in and we won't need to cut and tie in ends. So 1 double crochet into it, so 1 into the first stitch and 1 into the next stitch. Just keep those 2 yarns there. Now into the third one. The pattern is a double crochet and a double treble. If you're in the USA, that's a single crochet and a treble crochet. So yarn around your hook twice and into the next stitch. Trap that tail in and trap that white line in as well. Yarn over and pull through 2 loops. Yarn over through 2 loops. Yarn over and through 2 loops. Now it makes a big tall stitch. So we're going to go back to the UK double. That's a USA single in the next stitch, a small stitch in there. Keep your little tail end in and keep your yarn going along. It's going to avoid you sewing any ends in. So it's going to push that like a bobble to the front. The easiest bobble you can make is a UK double treble, and that's a treble crochet if you're in the USA. Now into the next one, yarn over twice. You're going to do that double treble, yarn over. Now my tail is getting tucked in that little bit, just tuck it in to the back here. So yarn through 2 loops, yarn over through 2 loops, yarn over through 2 loops. So the tail's gone now. It's all worked in. So into the next one, do your double crochet. Keep bringing that white along with us. Trap it in above that stitch. So we've done a double crochet. Now do the taller stitch. Yarn over twice into the next one. Through 2 loops, through 2 loops, and through 2 loops. And then your double crochet. And that's what you're going to repeat to near the end. So you've got your double crochet. Now we need to do that bobble. Through 2 loops, through 2 loops, through 2 loops. Double crochet into the next stitch. And as you can see, I'm just trapping that white in all the way along with me. Single if you're in the USA. So I'm going to do a bobble next. And I'm going to do my double crochet trap to fold that bobble over type of, if you know what I mean. And the last stitch, I'm going to do a double crochet. Pull your yarn through. Now what we're going to do with this one, I'm using 2 different colours, so I'm going to cut it If you're going to just use 2 colours, you just need to carry that up and along the same way you did with the white. But I'm going to cut it, not too long a tail. So I've got my last 2 loops on. I'm going to put my white around and pull through those 2 loops. Just tighten that lemon up. Then turn your work around and you've got your lemon tail. So into the very first stitch, we're going to do 3 rows of the double crochet. That's 3 rows of single crochet if you're in the USA. So 1 straight into that first stitch. And we're going to trap that yellow tail in with us. 1 into the next stitch all the way along. 1 into each stitch. Now 1 into that one. Trap the tail in. 1 into each stitch. Just keep your tail trapped in there. Now, if you were just going to do this 2 colours, you would just use that the same way we did the white one. You'll bring your lemon yarn along the top and then you can go up and change it to the lemon or to the white, whatever you're on. But I'm going to change the colour after these 3 rows of white. So just keep trapping that little tail in. Keep trapping it in. Just like that. And you've got your bobbles on the front. So we're going to do 3 rows of the white. All in UK double crochet, or that's USA single. 3 rows. Don't worry if it curls. It'll get straightened out when you do a border. You can just do a border of treble crochets. It's USA double crochets all the way around if you want. Now I'm on my last stitch. I've done my 3rd row. I'm going to put my yarn through and keep 2 loops on. Now I'm going to go to my orange. Remember, I just rolled a little ball up. So I'm going to get both my ends of my orange. And now I'm doubling up the orange to make it thicker. You can do that with all the yarn if you want. I'm just using up odd balls of yarn. And I'm going to pull that through. Turn my work around. Now you'll always do your bobble row from when you're on the back of your work. And that way it'll push the bobble to the front. Now I'm going to wrap my tail around once. Tighten my stitch in a little bit. A little bit fiddly. Once you get the hang of it. Tighten up my white, and I'm going to carry the white along as well. So what I've got is, I've got my white and my little tail of orange. Just nip it and pull that stitch in a bit tighter on the hook. And again, you're going to go in to that first stitch, and I'm going to go in and pull through and do my double crochet. Now I've got my tail and my white. I'm going to carry my white all the way along to the other end. So we've done the beginning stitch. So we're going to do 1 at the beginning, and at the end you'll always have a double crochet and a double crochet, and the same at the end. That's a single crochet and a single crochet if you're in the USA. So into there, 1 double crochet. Trap the tail in and your white yarn. Now you're going to do your wrap over twice, 1, 2, and into the next stitch. Through 2 loops, keep your tail down, through 2 loops, and through 2 loops. Now you can just leave the tail down and sew it in, but this works a little better. 1 into the next stitch, and then do your bobble stitch around the hook twice and through, yarn over, through 2 loops, through 2 loops, and through 2 loops. Keep your little tail end in. Then that smaller stitch. And do that all the way along. And when you get to the end, you're going to keep 2 loops on. I'm going to cut my yarn and leave a little tail. I need to get some new scissors. Just hold that tail in. Go back to my white and pull through. Now I'm going to take my tail around again. Just bring it around, put it on the top, and we're going to crochet it in. So right into that first stitch, I've done a chain 1. Into the very first stitch, do 1 double crochet and 1 into the next stitch. Trap that tail in. So you always start with your 2 double crochets and you'll always finish with 2 double crochets. Single crochets if you're in the USA. Just trap that tail in as you go along. Trap it in. And these have got your bobbles. Should pop on this side. Now any little tail ends from your tail, give it a little trim. And you're going to do your 3 rows of your double crochets. That's single crochets if you're in the USA. So that's what you'll do. I've done my 3 rows. All I would do is just keep my last 2 loops on. Then I'll go back and put my yellow on, or whatever colour you're going to put on. If you're just doing this 2 colours, just go back to your other colour and then you'll work your tail in. But remember, and always carry along that white yarn all the way along like that. And it'll save you from sewing in all the little ends. And you'll carry on until yours is like this. Until it's like this, or as big as you want it. This is the easiest way to do bobbles. It's a great way to do this this little oranges and lemons blanket. So I'm going to continue with my little blanket. This is just a little sample. So thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe to the channel. And if you click on the bell icon, YouTube will tell you when I put up another tutorial. So the next tutorial from this is going to be a hat. I'm going to make a hat like this as well. So once again, I'll show you how to change the colours. Then I'm going to show you how, with a simple band like this, how to turn it into a hat.